Selangor Red Giants, champions of MPL MY with Innocent Yums.
Quickly from getting knocked down to the lower bracket by Todak and then going back crawling, winning the championship 4-2, going through what you did to MSC, going on.
First pick, going through for Falcons, Bruno coming in big.
We kind of saw this coming, right? Like, you literally got the best Bruno in the country play. You gotta give him that Bruno. Not to mention that you reached that late game, he's just such a powerful pick. We've seen what Twisted Minds did. We've seen just now what Maycam Evolve did as well, right? You want good late game insurance, and Bruno plus the sit-down is sort of like that combo, but you do give the Loyi over to SRG and the high loss. We talk about how Loyi is such a good hero on prodigies like Stormy or people like Super Friends, and now he gets that. The macro game for SRG is going to be so much more different.
Now if I am Falcon, you take away another strong frontliner like we showed for SRG, and they will not. They actually take away a pick of Sakai as they go for the Joy instead, and then they have the Vexana in their mid just so that they can get a little bit more of strong team fighting presses with the crowd control. So now they have to make sure that the Roam and EXP are chunky. It cannot just be pick off, it needs to be able to hold the front line, but it's so weird to say that because now we've seen the power spikes, the one item power spike of a Loyi with how well it can poke down the tankier presence of the front line earlier on in the game at around 5-6 minutes into it. So whatever the tanky front line of Falcon will be, it has to be something with a little bit more mobility, which is quite rare.
So it's gotta be a power lifter who does yoga, gotta be flexible, but still able to block a door frame.
Yeah, quite demanding to ask for in one man, right?
It's a lot to ask for, but at the same time, I can understand the sentiment, right? It's gonna be difficult when you have to not only think about your flanks, but when that glorious pathway comes down, it's a signal that something is about to happen and you need a way to disengage. Now, the Suyo is going to be the final pick here to finish off the first phase of the game. Second phase, what are we lacking here?
I think for Falcons, they can go down two different angles. The very first one is to keep on banning Yum's hero pool like Tigreal, right? Edith. So you sort of force this high loss into the XP lane and then you pick a counter matchup into it. But to be fair to SRG, there's still plenty of options. Like Khalid is still up, Totkacha is still available. But if you're SRG, you probably will be looking at the XP lane. Yeah, so the 4 is back.
Yeah, Falcon, I think 100% needs to ban the Tigreal. They have the Joy with them, and the presence of the Tigreal, who we don't think of him as like the fast crowd control, but one press of the implosion, then suddenly that Joy's gonna get caught out. They're still respecting the next best gold laner that they can go for, which is the Beatrix, but then the Harith is still active in the map. Pairs very well with the high loss, pairs very well with the low E. If SRG don't want to go magic for their gold laner, I mean, Innocent showed off a Granger the very first day.
He did. Honestly, I do want to see that again, but there has been this trifecta. If Bruno has taken away the usual go-tos that we've seen so far, has been either Granger, Beatrix, and what NIP Flash continues to show, maybe even Moskov could be part of that mix.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Moskov, and when you have the Loyi, you always have the safest pick for Innocent, which is you always kind of fall back to the Claude, right? We haven't really seen that up to this point, but it can always be at the back of SRG's mind. They go for another ban. This one's going to be the chip, so I do like it. You don't want anyone to be able to match the Loyi.
If I can open up the Tigreal here, I wouldn't be too crazy to say that maybe they're thinking of pulling off something off of the Team Spirit playbook and picking up an Akai somewhere there, whether the EXP or the Roam. Again, in the scrims, leading into, well, the 14 seasons for Philippines and Malaysia, a lot of teams were floating around the idea of Akai being popped up more to counter the presence of the Tigreal, so I wouldn't turn off that idea.
Actually, wait, hold on. Husky was mentioning earlier that, you know, limit down on the support section so that you do maybe see the high loss go into that EXP lane, but if with that chip ban and SRG being on red side, technically they could have picked it up for themselves.
Yeah, technically they could have, but I feel like you just want to... means that they don't want to go down that route, right? I was thinking either Kaja or Franco ban because you want to protect this Joy, so they go for the Franco ban because Joy is kind of right up in your face, but it doesn't eliminate the possibility of a Kaja, although it does make it slightly awkward now that there is the high loss kind of floating there in the draft. I wouldn't be surprised if FCon is thinking about something like what we saw from Team Spirit. I think the glue wouldn't be too tricky to pull off in this current situation.
Glue for Falcon?
For Falcon.
Yeah, in the XP lane? Oh, wait, no, yeah. I'd be totally okay with that. That seems like a good idea. It seems like whatever SRG would want to go for into the gold lane, just the presence of the glue would be annoying enough to buy time maybe for the Bruno to just be able to free hit, and that takes up one of our conditions of a strong frontliner. Ranger, as we mentioned earlier, for Innocent. So if it's a glue, well, they can go ahead and pick the tick here, right?
Glue tick, yeah.
Glue tick?
Maybe not tick. They could also go for a Kaja themselves, depending on how fast they want to go, though.
It depends. As you mentioned at the very beginning, it's about the angles that they want to take, right? Based on what we're seeing, do they want to play to their style, keep it a little chaotic, make sure that you're always guessing how they're expected to approach the fights, or do they just take Coach Arcadia's team head on?
Okay, so they take away the Edith option, yeah.
That's just one thing. You take away that flex, right, for SRG that we kind of talked about.
Yeah. Oh, there's the thing, yeah.
Okay.
They make it an Edith EXP.
Yeah, really clamping down on that hero pool for SRG.
Yeah, this is going to be a little awkward here because, again, it's very final pick. They've held on to the high loss as a flex, maybe to try and get Ikram himself the power pick, the winning matchup on that side of the map.
There's one hero I can think of, but I'm not sure if they would to consider it the export for SRG in that XP lane, right? You put Hylos, you put Yums on Hylos, you have this export, decent backline dive, great against the front lines of FCon. They want to be in your face.
Oh, yeah. Export will be supplemented by the Hylos, supplemented by the Lowy as well. It's not going to be the perfect pick. There's still a chance that either the Joy or
the Glue as well.
Vexana might just be able to take away his armor.
They could also consider Glue, I suppose. It's not that bad either.
Yeah.
I say the hard part is, do you want an answer to the Joy, and do you want it in the EXP? Oh, Guinevere! Wait, we don't know where the Guinevere is going on just yet. It looks like Ram.
Right?
Yep, it's
Exciting series right here, ladies and gentlemen. We shall witness the Giants tremble the earth as the Falcons take to the air for a battle between land and sky. The land of Dawn shall bear witness to a duel upon the M6 Swiss stage.
With that being said, jumping into the land of Dawn here. Again, it's a best of one. This is going to be the Falcons soaring high to take down the Giants. We will find out. It's a jam-packed house here, and you could probably hear behind us. They've got the drums out and everything for the home squad team, SRG. Now, looking at the lineups, like I mentioned, you know, Staffa, I know you're loving SRG, what they brought to the table in this composition, but also for Falcon Esports, I've been really impressed with how they've been able to play up to this point throughout the Swiss stage. And the fact that they went that first pick for Benny, one of the marquee picks right now of M6, and a lot of the cause of debate on what should happen to Bruno, it's a solid choice for them to go ahead and start things off. Not only that, but even the fact that they have a Tigreal and a Vexana to help set things up. You throw in an Edith there too. That's a whole lot of crowd control that SRG has to deal with.
Yeah, I agree with you, Naisu. Like, I definitely want to root for SRG a little bit, but I cannot deny that Falcon Esports has a draft that actually is pretty terrifying, right? They have so much set up with the Edith and Tigreal to follow up on things, and Selangor Red Giants are very reliant on this Guinevere actually landing onto Dax. And that's a joy. You're not going to catch her easily.
Not going to be able to catch her easily, and I think part of this too is I really got to see. I know it seems, hold on, top side.
Trying to go for top lane, gank onto Royal Milk. Not quite able to finish off Evil Queller. Going to miss right at the end there.
You know, how many times are we to see that too, by the way? Just low health bars and a Suyo across. Royal Milk's got to do it again.
Ooh, a nice dash from Royal Milk just to make sure that he's not going to get picked off here. Dax already waiting in the brush, but don't think going to try and challenge this. They have their eyes on the turtle.
And this is what I want to see here, Staffa, is how is SRG going to utilize, especially the Guinevere pick? I know we've seen it pop up a couple times now. Some teams obviously finding more success than others. But this looks like it's just going to be an objective in the hands of the home squad, SRG, locking that one in. Not enough, I guess, utility available just yet for Falcon, but look at the play. Down bot.
Immediately towards halfway in, and Yums even flickers for it. First blood claimed by Stormy with a full team rotation to the gold lane.
Just a huge play already. As I was mentioning too, you know, hey, Benny got his hero that he loves to play, that he performs so well on, but if SRG decides to just go ahead and focus down Benny and make his early laning phase a living hell, then what can you do but to support him? And that's going to be up to Falcon Esports on rising to that occasion and dealing with that, because that's going to happen time and time again. And for Innocent, you know, the beast on this Granger, we know what that turns into late game. Yums, he gets poked down a little bit. Ultimately going to be fine. First items being picked up here too. That's the Hunter Strike now for Innocent. Meanwhile, over for Benny, still locking in that first one. What do you think they need to do to Benny so that he has a good time here? Do they just plant Kid X down on the gold lane for him?
I think you definitely don't want to keep Kid X in the gold lane forever, but a little bit of an increased presence is going to benefit Falcon. Generally, the traditional playstyle will lean towards Benny's side of the map anyway, so I think they can stick to what they're comfortable with. It's just that SRG went so quickly because they knew that Kid X didn't have Implosion ready yet to punish them for grouping up that hard. Now that the levels have actually caught up on both sides, we're probably going to see SRG tone it down just a little bit to make sure they're not caught out in a big team fight ult.
I mean, we have seen that, you know, even the beginning days of the Swiss stage where SRG, they made a couple mistakes, and a lot of people were wondering, you know, what happened. And even Coach Arcadia himself said in that quote, you know, they basically beat themselves because of the lack of discipline that they face. Oh, hold on, mid.
Speaking of, they caught Kid X. That's a violent requiem. No implosion because you are already dead. Right into the diversion play. Going for Benny in the bot lane. Glorious.
Oh no, Benny.
They are diving the tower. There is nowhere to run. Purify I will not save you. 3 kills for Selangor Red Giants.
It is not a good day for Benny in the gold lane, and man, that's the answer right there. Hume's able to find the mid lane. This turtle, though, I don't think at this point Falcon Esports really wants to contest this. They are getting in position for it. Implosion is available. They're gonna have to fight for it.
Royal Milk already popping primer up. A 2-man knocked on Kid X. Guy's already securing turtle, but truck buying beats comes out. Dax securing the double kill as a counterplay to the Red Giants.
Falcon Esports will be able to get something, 2 objectives now in the hands of SRG, but you gotta give it up to Falcon Esports. Still able to find ways to keep things from getting too out of control, and that's exactly what they have to do. With Benny already being 0-2 early on, they know that at this point, they've got to give him even more time. We all know what Bruno can do once those items are locked in. It looks like they're going to go for this top turret. They do drop down the Glorious Pathway. They'll stop it from getting taken down. It's 1 HP away. So eventually that turret will go down. And Falcon Esports really maintaining from that deficit in the gold lead for SRG, getting it 2 out of hand. And I feel like they have to do this. They have to do this for the majority of this early game. Even if it turns into a situation, Staffa, where it's 3 for 3 turtles for SRG, they could still fight things out if Falcon Esports gets enough time.
Ooh, great flicker timing from Royal Milk. Avoids the spatial migration from Skies. Diversion once again. They're going to the bot lane. They have their eyes on Dax, but the Joy has already dashed out. So an unsuccessful gank coming in here from SRG.
That turret top's finally going to go down. Benny working on it. As I said, it was 1 hit away earlier on. Good plays from Falcon Esports. Even against this diversion, Dax.
Skies with the 1v1, Stormy flickers in, not able to find a Glorious Pathway to try and cut off his path, but Dax still able to dash away just fine. SRG will take the bottom tier 1 as consolation.
All right, so they trade it. They trade out the turrets for now. Both teams still putting pressure where they can, cross-map especially. Oh, Innocent.
Innocent trying to dive this, dropping Benny 10%. Purify already used on the Bruno. Kid X kind of missing the Sacred Hammer. Here comes the Violet Requiem, locking down Kid X. Innocent not able to land the Death Sonata. Flicker used by the Tigreal. Cram is here though to cut things off. Implosion on 2. No Sacred Hammer usage. And I think Kid X, there's no way he's escaping this one. But space created for the turtle. Falcon Esports should be able to get this easily. Sky's not in the area, but person cuts off Dax. He's able to dash away. Hume's not able to find him, but they will find PX7.
And that's how you play with the Louis Yi power plays on the macro level. Able to shake things up, keep them guessing. But Falcon Esports, they got the objective. They responded. Innocent went forward. Great response from Humes earlier. I mean, both teams doing actually a pretty good job on both fronts. It's just right now, SRG obviously feeling that momentum a little bit more, carrying into the gold lead that they have. But you can't count Falcon Esports out just yet. Yes, Benny had a hard time in the early game, but as long as he can keep farming up and doesn't die anymore, then he should be able to get to a point where, yeah, his damage is a big threat for those team fights later on. And remember, Kid X, he hasn't found that right implosion just yet, but if he does, and we're talking about the Lord fights later on, or even on a defense, we have seen that change the course of games before. So right now, Falcon Esports in a position where they just need to go ahead, stay calm and collected, farm up what they can, and get back in a fighting position against SRG. Because right now, it does feel like they're just kind of trying to catch their breath at this point.
Yeah, Falcon Esports can definitely afford to slow things down somewhat. I think the onus is actually on SRG to really try and make something happen, because we all know what kind of damage Bruno can output by now. He will normally hit his spike around that 15-minute mark, but since he's already died twice, SRG have been able to prolong that timer just a little bit. But once you get into the real late game stages, those 5v5s can be really scary. There's Sonata comes out! Innocent! With the sniping across the map, taking the Falcons out of the sky.
Oh, and Hume's jumping in.
Yep, he's still finding more Violet Requiem. There is nothing Kid X can do here. Selangor Red Giants will take their jungle.
Right now, the Beast is winning the battle. Royal Milk, too, doesn't want to overextend into that, because right now, this Lord is up. You can see the pushing going on here on the top side, but it looks like this is going to be a Lord for SRG. And still, they just keep the momentum going. Definitely looks like they're a lot more disciplined this time around and ready to carry in towards the base. They've got the tier 2 still to work through, and even that tier 1 up top. but SRG in a good position. Even looking at the damage dealt, I mean, my goodness, talk about the beast here, Innocent. Look at the damage profile on this Granger.
That is very, very impressive. Innocent, he did debut this Granger in the first game of M6, but they didn't do all that well. But now they're changing it up. Divergent play into the back line. That's going to be your knockup on Royal Milk. Killing spree for Skies. And we can see that Selangor Red Giants are continuously applying pressure on the bottom half of the map. Skies even cutting on the back line. A flicker forward by Stormy. Purify used by Benny. Two-man implosion from Kid X. But Skies is still running forward. Mega kill for the Suyo. But they will trade Stormy for it, and Benny even picking up the shutdown.
They got a couple of kills. Benny's out of the picture again. Lord is still up in the mid lane. It's Kid X and PX7. No Eternal Guard available for PX7. They should be able to get this turret. Still putting the pressure there. They drop down the Glorious Pathway. And this is, remind you, what Coach Arcadia said, SRG will stay disciplined. They went a little overzealous there on the bottom side. They didn't get that tier 2 there, but they do get out. Just focusing on the turrets. It was only that first Lord. And so Falcon Esports, you know, they're seeing that gold lead get a little bit bigger across from them, and they're feeling the amount of pressure that's being put. And it's really up to them to go ahead and slow things down, farm up to where they need to be. I think even to a sense, you know, Benny, the fact that he was able to get a kill and that we got that preview of that implosion, but with the difference in terms of the value of items that they have, it's really difficult to capitalize on the implosions right now. Like, if you think about all the crowd control, where are they sending this diversion? Oh no, Benny.
Benny should have seen that. I don't think he did, but he's still kind of at a bad angle that SRG can't really connect on, so they will eventually pop out, even the Glorious Pathway, just to make sure Falcon doesn't catch up with them as they back out from the jungle.
At this point, Falcon Esports just trying to scrape up what they can. And you know, this has been the struggle, Stafa, of the Tigreal in general. Like throughout these past few days, I think even the sense in the wild card. It's great to have him, and then you're just traditionally a tanky hero, but if you fall behind and then you have this kind of scaling happening for the opposite team, you're just a guy that's throwing your body to the wind and hoping that you get an implosion off. And if you do, then that's great, but oftentimes, sometimes you're even dead before the team can shine and follow through. That's a Malefic gun picked up now by Benny. This is the item that definitely is needed with a Bruno and has found a lot of success with. But I think even then, it's still, you're far away from getting to the point where you're able to actually turn some of the tides of this fight. This next Lord is coming up, though. And I think for Falcon Esports, we see them check things. They might actually try to fight it again because Kid X has a flicker available. Royal Milk could be the one to set things up, too. And that's what we haven't seen too much of just yet. This Edith value. Has he been able to find those flicker combinations with the Onward and Earthshatter combo, where then, again, Kid X doesn't have to be the guy to do it first, and he can follow through. But look at the amount of poke coming out from SRG already. Royal Milk at half health. Diversion.
Only on Cram. They're cutting off Royal Milk specifically from the rest of his team, and the Spatial Migration will come in. Implosion on 2, but it's on Cram and Humes, and it doesn't even matter as Kid X is just held it down from behind. Falcon Esports, no way to connect. This is going to be another free Lord for the Red Giants.
Another Lord taken by the power of the macro play that comes with a Loyi, man. It's something about this hero that just keeps teams on a guessing game throughout it. Where are they going to come from? What bush are they in? And here's a Glorious Pathway in the mid.
I love the way Cram is using these just to set up space. And Innocent with the Death Sonatas. PX7 almost dead just like that. Dax can't even run in with the electrifying beats. Selangor Red Giants are looking to tighten the noose. Put the final nail in the coffin for Falcon Esports. Lord now pushing in mid lane. Gonna crash in. Mid inhibitor gone easily for SRG. Royal Milk trying to hold the front line, but he knows that it's dangerous for him to stand too far forward. Even Primal Wrap used just to clear up the Lord. And they will finally at least hold against the SRG minion waves.
Gonna be able to hold it. They only lose that mid turret. So Falcon Esports still trying to stay into this. You know, this is looking a little dangerous and a little dire for them, though, because of just how much poke from a range is gonna happen from SRG. And then again, too, even if Humes has the flicker available, They could push it in. Diversion going to be used again.
And Graham right into the back line.
Whoa!
Putting up everyone into the spatial migration. Royal Milk knocked out. Mega kill already for Innocent. Implosion. Actually going to be able to punish Graham. Benny picks up a trade.
Oh!
And now Dax shutting down Innocent himself for a mega kill. So getting shut down by Skies right in return. For Falcon Esports able to trade even 2 for 2 in their base defense.
Hey, they send in Cram, but hey, it's hard to shoot a Joy that's electrifying your beats, basically. You know,
Yep.
You can't really hit him with the Rhapsody with the way that hero alone has that kind of mobility. Good kill, honestly, to get. Keeping Falcon Esports in the game. Yes, they still have a huge deficit to work for, but that's a little bit of hope that they can work with, because looking at the items too, you know, you're getting to a point where your damage profile is getting better, your defense is getting a little bit better for Kid X, but even so, Royal Milk and Kid X still both are getting melted. And now that you have a Malefic Roar picked up by Sakai's, this is in a situation where you almost have to play in a sense of, let's punish SRG if they actually go ahead and use those diversions, because often it's been that. It's diversion, send in Cram, here's a glorious pathway. We're trying to cut you off, Falcon Esports. And maybe it's in a position now for Falcon Esports where they can actually punish that and get someone down fast enough. Immortality also could play a part here for Kid X, because now he doesn't just get melted and blown up.
Yeah, we have to note, Falcon Esports traditionally is known to be a team that's actually quite good at high ground defense. And their composition right now is actually pretty effective at that, especially if SRG overcommits resources and gives Dax enough free space to walk in without having to worry about that crowd control. We are now at the 16-minute mark. This is a very, very crucial timing, because whatever happens next determines whether Benny just takes over the game.
Yeah, that's the scary thing about it, and why Bruno has such a high win rate, contest rate as well. I think this is ultimately still obviously a Lord in the hands of SRG. They're not going to get here in time. Kid X checks things out. That's Lord secured. Cram will just drop down the Glorious Pathway. Is going to be fine, because they know they just wait for this Lord to spawn up before they get ready to march into the base. Now, Falcon Esports, this is where we look to see if they bought themselves enough time. You know, almost 17 minutes into the game. They've got some key items that they just recently picked up. But can they actually withstand another push into the base, especially with only one base turret left? This damage is just insane from Innocent. And honestly, at this point, like I said, for Falcon Esports, they're probably not going to get to Innocent. It's really difficult for them to even get in that range, in that zone. So they have to just wait for SRG to approach, hopefully punish, especially against this diversion, and then turn the tide of the fight. The Lord's going to be worked on. Down in the mid, there's Cram jumping in.
Glorious Pathway opens up the path. Primal Wrap used by Royal Milk. Last inhibitor will fall for Falcon Esports. Selangor Red Time's going to use with the two-man knockup right into the Stormy combo. Falcon Esports doesn't lose Royal Milk straight away. Implosion comes out, but Kid X just melts instantly. Skies loses immortality, going to be taken out by Benny. Falcon Esports still actually holding on to the crystal, but it is a 3v4 defense. Next minion wave coming in mid lane. PX7 gonna nuke it, do some damage where they can. Dax looking for an opportunity. Purify spent on PX7. Another gold they use with the flicker in. Locks up on Dax, but no Violent Requiem. Cram creating space, but SRG can't quite get close enough. They cannot find the executions they need. So the crystal still stands for Falcon Esports, and they're trying to make sure that they can keep their hopes of moving on to the next stage alive.
Oh, they're gonna defend. They actually end up doing it. Great usage of the Purify earlier in the space and positioning from Benny, because if Benny was gone, that whole damage profile would have been diminished. Yes, PX7 is able to go ahead and hold things steady, but ultimately it comes down to Benny, and if SRG can take him out or not. I mean, both gold laners, hey, the panel previewed this leading into the matchup. It's the Beast versus the Claw, and that's exactly how it's fallen into place. You can see the items with both gold laners. Like, they're pretty much where they need to be. And now for Benny, you know, he's in a position where, yes, he can go ahead and sustain through some of the fights. He's even got the Rose Gold Meteor here. He's actually helping him with the Sea Halberd too, with some of the sustainability with that Revitalize across from them. But still, you have to be able to go ahead and defend maybe one more time if they actually just give up the Lord to SRG, because it's actually looking pretty difficult. I mean, look at the stacks here too for Innocent.
Wow.
My goodness.
840 stacks on the Granger there. But there is a notable weakness. Granger is a skill spam-based marksman, which means that unless he is able to get close enough, he actually cannot whittle down crystals very quickly compared to something like a Bruno.
Yeah.
So Falcon Esports, as long as they can keep Benny in the back line, so SRG has to break through the entire lineup to actually get a chance at ending the game.
They do, and right now it looks like this time around, Staffa, they actually want to go ahead and contest this, at least showing face here. No immortality this time around for Kid X. It was expended earlier on, so they might rely on Royal Milk. It's still going to be used.
Conceal play already used. The baiting a flicker from Stormy. Cram now forming the front line. Glorious Pathway slowing down Falcon Esports. Royal Milk has to flicker away. Jack looking for Innocent with the from Ice Base. He finds him!
Dax!
He gets the execute, and now the implosion comes in. Double kill for Dax. And Falcon Esports have found 3 members of SRG. The next Lord belongs to them.
And the Falcons will find flight as they get a setup they're looking for and finally get a Lord. This could be a turnaround point for Falcon Esports. A big mistake from SRG. And that's exactly what Falcon Esports has been looking for the past 20 minutes, man. Send in Royal Milk, who cares if he's half health, and then let Kid X come in with the implosion. And now it's them knocking on the base of SRG.
SRG now has to hold another 10 seconds before the rest of the members come up. Humes misses the flicker, implosion catches them, and it's a killing spree for Benny! An absolute reversal as Falcon Esports topples the Giants and takes the victory!
The Falcons will soar once again. Discipline and determination on the base defense time and time again. And I know our crowd, they're a little quiet right now, guys, because what a turnaround for Falcon Esports. Amazing performance, amazing discipline. Remind you, Benny did not have a good early game. They had to scrape, and just bring it back in their favor, and that's exactly what they did, and why you cannot count any team out, especially in these best of ones. Another victory added here for Falcon Esports. Amazing, amazing performance. Some adjustments for SRG. Let's throw it over to the panel to see what they
highlights. You could see how devastating the game was early as it slowly transitions into the Dax game.
Yeah, what Dax was able to do here, it mitigated what could have been an absolutely even worse situation for Falcon Esports, getting wins when he can. That double kill felt like that should have been a big warning for SRG. That felt like foreshadowing that if you lose your position, if you are not careful, if Dax is in a great place to just jump to where Innocent is, he will take that chance. When you go back to what happened in that big final team fight, that's exactly what happened.
This is sort of also like SRG. You have the idea of, okay, we want to siege, but we're giving away too much, right? Dax always has been able to find these moments, and that was his only death, but at a very good cost. He stalled out the game leading up to this late game, and who is going to stop him? There's no one. Innocent was exposed. Dax just dances on top of him, and then the implosion follow-up. Very good patience for Falcons Esports to really exploit the fact that SRG were not only out of position, but also didn't have crucial battle spells.
Yeah. That's the best thing about, well, simple to pull off lineups. When you have one clear condition or two clear conditions compared to a lineup